In my previous videos, I have already showed you 2 ways to farm animal coins in Animal Hospital. The problem is, one of those methods got nerfed and isn't really worth doing anymore, and the other one requires a top tier class that a lot of you might not have yet. So today, I want to show you a brand new method I've been testing out. It not only gets you around 100 coins an hour, it also doesn't require any specific class. And it even has a fully AFK option. So how do you actually pull this off? Let's go step by step. Let us start with the first method, which is the active farming method that anyone can do regardless of what class you have unlocked. The only thing you need to buy before you start is a gun. You can get one in the supply shop for 400 in-game dollars, or you can unlock it directly for 99 Robux if you prefer. That is the only item actually needed for this method, and you are ready to set up the hospital. Once you acquired the gun, the first thing you need to check is what shift you are currently on. Do not try to do this setup during emergency shifts like Shift 5, Shift 10, or Shift 15. Emergency shifts have unique events and modified objectives that mess with the normal spawn rates. If you find yourself on an emergency shift, just clear it normally, wait until you get back to a standard shift, and then you can start setting things up. Once you are on a normal shift, equip your gun and stand right by the front check-in desk. As patients start walking through the front door, your goal is to shoot them with the gun to knock them out cold. A very important detail here is that you have to use a gun and not a taser. If you try using a taser on incoming patients, it only stuns them for a couple of seconds. Once the stun wears off, they get scared and run away from the hospital entirely, which ruins your setup. The gun forces them into an unconscious state where they stay on the floor indefinitely. Every time you knock out a patient, carry their body into one of the empty hospital rooms and place them onto a bed. Then walk back to the desk and repeat the process with the next patient who arrives. Now, occasionally you will see special quest NPCs like Rathu, Ron, or Barney walk up to the check-in desk. The game code treats quest NPCs differently, so shooting them with a gun will not actually knock them out. When a quest NPC arrives, you can either check them in normally or just dismiss them so they leave the building. You want to keep shooting regular patients and placing them into beds until you reach a specific count in the building. Keep going until you have filled every single bed except for the last 2 empty rooms. Having exactly 2 empty rooms left is crucial for how the game calculates shift logic. Once you are down to those final 2 empty rooms, stop using your gun. When the next 2 patients walk up to the counter, check them in normally through the desk dialog so they walk over and occupy those last 2 remaining beds on their own. At this point, every bed in the hospital is occupied, making your hospital completely full. And again, a warning about those last 2 patients. Make sure you do not shoot them. If you attempt to shoot patients when the hospital is already at near maximum capacity, the game registers it as a fatal attack instead of a knockout, which would unalive the patient immediately and gives you a penalty on your shift. So knock everyone out at the beginning, but always check in the final 2 patients normally. Now let us look at what happens once all the beds in the hospital are full. Because every bed is taken by patients, the game engine realizes it cannot spawn any more patients that require medical beds. However, because you have not officially met the shift's required check-in quota through normal gameplay, the system is still programmed to send entities through the front door. Because patient beds are unavailable, the spawning system defaults entirely to generating visitors. From this point on, every single animal that walks into your hospital will be a visitor. Visitors just walk up to the counter, you click to check them in, they walk to a patient room, stand there for 1 to 2 minutes, and then walk right out the front door. You do not need to diagnose them, give them medicine, or do any medical tasks. Every visitor you check in grants you roughly 0.5 animal coins. The main thing you have to keep an eye on during this active method is watching out for mimics. Mimics will occasionally try to disguise themselves as regular visitors and check in at the desk. If you accidentally let a mimic inside, it will head into the rooms and attack your patients and disrupt the farm. You can spot mimics by looking for odd mutated body parts or camera glitch. I've already covered how to spot one in a previous video, but if you want a full breakdown on how to spot these guys, feel free to comment down below. I ran a test with this setup to see how many coins it actually generates. In a 25-minute test run of checking in visitors at the desk, I earned 48 animal coins. If you maintain that pace over an entire hour, you are looking at right around 100 coins per hour, which is extremely solid for a method that requires no paid passes or premium classes. And how does it work? It's quite simple. As y'all knew, animal coins at the end of a shift are calculated from 3 main stats: treated patients, checked-in visitors, and prevented anomalies. Since anomaly farming was nerfed and treating patients requires expensive classes like security or secret agent, focusing on visitors is currently the most reliable route. By knocking patients out early with the gun, we artificially max out the hospital's physical bed capacity before the check-in count is satisfied. The game logic gets stuck in a loop where it needs to spawn animals to meet the shift quota, but cannot spawn patients due to full beds, so it floods your lobby with visitors instead, which allow you to constantly farm animal coins from them. And as you would have guessed, if you happen to own the Secretary class, I recommend using it while doing this method, though it is not strictly required. The Secretary class has a passive perk where checking someone in at the desk automatically restores a portion of your sanity meter. Since this farming method consists of continuously checking in visitors every few seconds, playing as Secretary keeps your sanity at 100% constantly, meaning you never have to walk away from the desk to make coffee. Also, keep your gun equipped just in case. If a standard environmental anomaly shows up in the hallways, you do not need to fight it. Just close the doors to block it off. Save your gun for situations where a mimic accidentally slips past the desk so you can deal with it immediately. On higher shifts, keep an ear out for bed monsters as well. If a bed monster tries to pull one of your visitor under a bed, run over and free them so you do not lose any animal coin. Now, while the active method is very effective, some players prefer a passive approach where they do not have to sit at the screen constantly clicking check-in buttons. That brings us to the second method, which is a fully automated AFK variation of this farm. The AFK method requires you to either own the secret agent class yourself or play in a lobby with a friend who owns it. The reason Secret Agent is so useful here is because the class spawns with a silence gun already equipped in your inventory from the very start of the match, including on Shift 1. Since you have access to a gun immediately on Shift 1, you can set up the farm on the very first level of the game. The setup is almost the same as the active method, with one key difference in how many beds you fill. As soon as Shift 1 begins, shoot incoming patients with the Secret Agent gun and put them into beds. But instead of leaving 2 rooms open, you want to leave only 1 room open. That means you fill 4 out of the 5 currently available beds with patients. Once 4 beds are filled, wait for the next patient to arrive and check them in normally into that 5th remaining bed. And just like in the first method, your hospital is now 100% full, and the spawn system immediately switches over to spawning visitors only. But here's why doing this on Shift 1 is so important for going AFK. Shift 1 is designed as a tutorial level, which means the developers completely disabled anomaly spawns for that shift. No mimics, no bed monster, and no stalkers can ever spawn on Shift 1. Every single animal that walks up to your counter is guaranteed to be a completely normal, legitimate visitor. Because there are 0 mimics on Shift 1, you do not need to inspect anyone's face, read their dialogue, or check their name tags. Every single person who approaches the desk can be safely checked in instantly. This means you can set up a basic macro or auto clicker on your computer to repeatedly press the check-in button at the desk. Position your character in front of the counter, turn your macro on, and the game will automatically process every visitor that arrives while you are away from your keyboard. I tested this AFK setup on Shift 1 by leaving an auto clicker running for 20 minutes while I was away from my PC. When I checked back, the account had gained 30 animal coins with 0 manual input. Over a longer session, those coins add up very quickly without you having to do any work. If you want to make this AFK setup even more efficient, you can team up with a friend using a simple class combination. Have your friend join your lobby as the secret agent while you play as the secretary. Your friend can use their starting gun to knock out the 4 patients and fill the beds on Shift 1. Once the setup is done and the last bed is filled normally, your friend can leave or stay in the game. Because you are playing as the secretary, your auto-clicker checking in visitors will continuously restore your sanity meter automatically. This completely prevents your character from passing out due to low sanity, allowing your farm to run indefinitely without any maintenance. The only minor downside to the Shift 1 AFK strategy is that Shift 1 dialog boxes scroll slightly slower than on later shifts. Because of that, visitors arrive at a slightly slower rate compared to Method 1, which is why 20 minutes yielded 30 coins instead of nearly 50. However, given that it is completely safe from mimics and requires no effort once set up, it is a very worthwhile trade-off if you want passive income in the game. That covers everything you need to know about this new animal coin farming method in Animal Hospital. I hope this video helps you unlock the classes you are aiming for. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will try to help out. If you found this video helpful, consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel for more Roblox guides. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.